Good morning, guys. Linnea here. I have a tiny little haul, and there's 20 questions going around by Conjurer's Table I thought I'd get involved in. And I should have turned to that little note I made before I started the video, but of course I didn't, so I'll do that now. Anyway, my little haul is something I wanted to share with you because it's such a great deal. I got it on Amazon. And I should have opened it beforehand, but I'll do that right now. It's some Palo Santo, but it is such a good deal. It is a big order, as you can see. And of course, they didn't enclose the paper with it. It is 36 sticks. Look at that. 36 of those puppies. And it's from, I'm looking for Ecuador, but positive feedback. It's from Palo Santo, Ecuador. Well, I'm going to show you the, Palo Santo, Ecuador, www. It's a half a pound anyway. I'm going to try to get that to focus. Now, I don't know how much it is from that particular website, but I got it from Amazon, and I believe it was $16.99. Yeah, it was. It was $16.99. And there are 36 sticks in there, half a pound. That's a really good deal. I don't know what you're paying, but I've been paying like $10.99 for 6 sticks, somewhere in there. And so I thought $16.99 for 36 sticks was a great deal. And when it came in the mail, oh my Lord, the smell is amazing. Just in my room, in my witchy room, the smell is absolutely amazing. All I smell is Palo Santo. And if you haven't used Palo Santo, when you burn it, it's a stick, as you can see. When you burn it, it just puts off the smoke that smells delicious, and it smells delicious itself. It's just the wood smells really good. So anyway, I wanted to share that little haul with you, and I wanted to do the 20 questions from Matt at Conjurer's Table, and I'm going to put his info in the info bar. So let's get started. The first question is, what's your spiritual practice and what inspired you to do it? My spiritual practice, this is a good question for me because I have been a hedge witch all my life, and went by that and was very committed to that, and very I don't know the word staunch, you know. I was really proud that I'm a hedge witch, yeah. And over the last probably 6 to 8 months have been becoming very eclectic. There has always been things about my practice, things that I've been curious about and didn't know how to pull them into my practice, things that I knew were not hedge witchy. For instance, graveyards and the dirt that comes from them and how to use it, and my ancestor dirt, graveyard dirt, and not just working with spirits, which I've done for quite a while, but my ancestors kind of been guiding me to things that were not hedge witchy. And I don't want to get way into it because this will be a huge video. But at any rate, there were things about it, about other practices that I've been really drawn to. So in the last 6 to 8 months, I've become very eclectic. So I would say my practice is very eclectic, and that's what inspired me to start. I've been just very drawn to it. And what inspired me to start at all, I don't know that I can answer that question. I think I've been a witch all my life and just didn't realize that's what I was doing until I hit a certain age and started learning about Wicca. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I've always kind of been doing this. So there's that. Number 2 is, what have you learned most about your spiritual practice? That it is empowering, that it gives me that it gives me everything. That's what I've learned most about it, that it gives me everything, that it feeds my soul, it feeds my spirit, it feeds my life, it feeds my family, it feeds everything, that it is everything. It's all-encompassing. That's what I've learned most about it. It's all-encompassing in my life. You want a more specific answer? What I've learned most about it is that I can manipulate most anything, and about it, that's really the kind of things I've learned, is that it's all-encompassing. I can't answer that question better. Number 3, if you could study another practice, what would it be and why? I think being eclectic lately, I've been studying other practices, and I'm kind of delving into, and this is going to probably get me some feedback eventually when I start getting a lot of feedback, but I've been delving into the darker side of things. I hate using those words, but into the side of things that most people don't. And that's probably where I want to do some more study, into the edge of things that are not so light or happy. Let me see, where am I? Study the practice and why. Why is because I just don't have any knowledge there, and I'd like to. I'd like to know more about it. I'd like to know what it is that's so tempting and empowering, because there are things about it that really tempt me. And yeah. Number 4, what do you find most challenging about your practice? Honestly, it would be refeeding my spells. I catch myself not going back and feeding my spells often enough, and I try to stay on a schedule, but I don't always do it, and then I realize it's like 10th or 12th or 20th of the month and I haven't worked on my magic boxes or my sachets or anything. I haven't refed them, and refeeding your spells is really important, and that's my challenge, is that I don't go back and take care of that, and I need to do that more often. So 5, if you have a significant other, do they know about your practice, and what do they think? He knows all about my practice. He always has from the beginning, and he likes to tease me. He likes to tell me I'm the crazy rock lady, or he likes to tell me leave your witchy stuff in the other room. He loves to tease me, but my husband is the most supportive person I've ever met in my life. We're going to a ancestral place soon, a cemetery that has a lot of my ancestors very soon, and he is insisting on taking his camera so that he can take pictures, and he's just extremely supportive. Offered to do some video for me so that I can have it on YouTube, and he's a very supportive guy. He's my soulmate. He's wonderful. Number 6, what do you want to learn about your, what do you want to learn most about your practice? That's kind of like, you could say, about my practice. I want to learn more about my practice. What do I want to learn most? I'm sorry, it's a little confusing. I want to learn to stick with it more. I want to learn more about other kinds of practices, and I want to pull them into my practice, I guess is, I want to use more items. I'm trying not to get really specific, because some things really upset other people, but there are things about other practices that I want to pull into my practice. So that's what I want to learn most about my own practice, is how to incorporate other practices into my practice. What other areas do you want to learn about? Kind of the same question. I want to, I want to learn how to use more animal parts. I want to learn how to use more dark arts, That's the best word to use. Not necessarily to hurt others, but to have more power or control, or neither one of those are the right words. To have more, I can't find the word. To have more oomph to my own magic. Oomph. Is that oomph? So yeah, I want to learn about hoodoo. I want to learn about other areas of my own practice. I just want to learn other areas to pull into my own practice. I think that is a little confusing. What other areas of your practice are you that interest you the least? Formality. I have a hard time with formality. You know, I do ritual, and I call elements, but like calling corners as far as being real formal, and I have a hard time drawing circles when my altar is up against a wall. I have a hard time with that, so I circle my house. If that makes any sense. And I don't, I'm just not real formal. I'm just not a real formal witch. I don't like formality. That is something that interests me the least. I don't like formality. 9. What are your top 3 favorite books about your practice? The Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs by Scott Cunningham is one. The Crystal Bible by Judy Hall is another. I should have got those books beforehand. Give me 1 second. There's one about symbols. That I love because it's so, it's got so much information in it. Sorry about that. There's one about symbols called The Women's Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects. I love this book. It's so informative. It's got a lot of modern things, but it's got a lot of ancient things in it, and I love it. It's great. And then the next one that I love is the Encyclopedia of Magical Ingredients, and this is by Lexa Rosian. Oh, this other book is by Barbara. The Woman's Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects is by Barbara G. Walker. And this book has been around a long time because I used to have it, and I went through a phase where I got rid of all my witchy stuff and lost it, and had to start over, but I have it again now. So, and then again, the Encyclopedia of Magical Ingredients. I love this book because it talks about everything from chocolate to corn to newspaper, so it's a good book. Okay, oops, that was 9. 10. What was your first altar setup? A candle and a crystal. That was my first altar setup. I didn't have anything on it. I didn't know how to really do it, and that was once I knew what an altar was. Now, before that, I would say still a candle and a crystal, because I collected crystals on rocks, and it may have been a rock from the driveway for all I know, but I've always liked to burn candles, and I've always had rocks or crystals. So I would say I had an altar before I even knew it was an altar set up, and it would have been rocks and candles and crystals. That's what it would have been. And that's what it was when I started, when I realized what an altar was, because I didn't have an athame, and I didn't have any of that good stuff in the beginning, so offering bowls and so on. What was the first altar tool you purchased or received? Okay, once I realized what an altar was, I would say the first thing I purchased would have been my athame, because back then I was studying, and I thought I had to have that to do anything. I thought I had to have an athame. I thought it was just the most important tool there was. So I purchased that, and I made a wand out of a crooked willow tree. And I still have that wand. I'll show you my wand. And my athame. And I still use both when I get formal, which I don't do very often, but when I do, I still use both. So this is my thami, just a little, really inexpensive, and I still use the same one. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a formal witch. And this is my wand. And I've added to it over the years. It was just a stick with a crystal in it, but I've added to it and embellished it over the years and done all kinds of things to it. Added bells. So that's my wand. And those are the first items that I actually attained after I realized everything. And that was number 11. Number 12, do you have a book of shadows? And if so, can you describe it? I will just show it to you instead of describing it. It started with notes on paper. Didn't use a notebook. Just use notes. This is my book of shadows. It's very big. It's marked. And I made it. Like I said, I started with notes on papers, and then I decided I didn't want to use a notebook because I knew that my book of shadows was going to get big. So I just kept all these notes everywhere in my journals, and because I'm an avid journalist, I've journaled and journaled and journaled for years. I should have said, excuse me, journaler, not journalist. I journaled for years, and I used to keep the notes in my journals. And then I decided one day I was going to try to make my own. And when I made it, it was really, really small. And you just put a patch of leather in the back, poke 3 holes in it so that you can attach it to your, well, 6 holes, I guess, huh? Attach it to your cover, and then add pages to the leather that you used. Well, it was really small, so I had to add leather and add leather and add leather to grow the book. So it's huge now, and it's old. I've had it for years. So, and the leather case is not as old as the book, trust me. And the case on the outside is grown with the book. I have to keep adding, and then I'll show you one more thing. That's why this overlaps quite a bit, so that I can still add pages when I need to. So there's that. That's my book of shadows. Where are we at? Do you have a book of shadows? And if so, describe it. There you go. Number 13, what content do you put inside your journals? Now, I don't know if it means journals or book of shadows, so I'm going to explain both. My book of shadows, I put all my spells, all my incenses, spells, all my potions, even my tinctures and so on. I put all those in my book of shadows. Now, I have another book, and I'm not going to go get it. But I think if you look, you can see it on that shelf in the corner there. It looks a lot like my book of shadows. It's my apothecary book, and I put all those recipes in that apothecary book as well. And everything that worked or didn't work, I put in there. I don't put everything that worked or didn't work inside my book of shadows unless it's a spell. And then I will put, this one worked, this one didn't work, why, how, so on and so forth. A lot of what I put in my book of shadows is information for my children and my grandchildren and so on. How my views have changed, what I do, what I have done, what I don't do anymore, why I don't do it, who the gods and goddesses are, and why for years I never followed a god or goddess. I mean for years. It is just this year, 2019, that I have finally, well, I didn't finally, she finally found me and decided to make it known that I was going to follow her. Like it or not. So, but literally for my entire life, I never followed a god or goddess. Oh, my camera's shaking because I'm shaking my leg. I'm sorry. So, that's what I put in my book of shadows. In my journals, I write about my day, what I've done, how my day has been, what's been happening, how I feel about things, what's going on in my head, how I'm dealing with certain situations, what's going on. For instance, we're moving to Texas in, 2 months, and it's a big move. So I've been writing my stresses in there and what I'm worried about and what we're doing and how we're doing it, and we're packing, and I have to start packing my witchy room, which makes me really sad because I can't imagine not being around my stuff. But if I want to go to Texas, I have to do it. So, just my emotions. That's what my journal is for, my day and my emotions. Okay, number 14. This is taking forever. I'm so sorry this video is long. Number 14, where do you keep your Book of Shadows? I keep it right. My altar has, let me see if I can show you. My altar has 2 little shelves on it, so I keep it right with my altar. What do you do within your practice that is unique to you? Everything. Everything. I take things that I learn. I learn things, especially from people like Sunshine Morning Ray, Lady Grave Dancer, books, Jen the Taxidermy Witch. I could sit here and list all the people that I watch on YouTube, but that would be silly. And then all the books that I read. And I take the information that I gather, and then I feel my intuition, and then I do what I feel it needs for me. Same thing when I'm doing a spell for someone else. I just talked with someone this morning about a spell they need. And it's not what they tell me, it's what I feel. So everything I do is unique to me. Everything I do is my practice, so it's unique to me. And that's how I feel about it. Other than that, probably my candle magics are unique to me because I use a lot of items that are different than most people would use. I do not use a lot of resins because I've noticed what they do to the candles just really irritates me, and the cleanup is a pain in the rumpus. I go to cemeteries a lot. That's not definitely unique to me, but I think there are not a ton of people who do that. And I work a lot with things that other people may not be comfortable working with, but there are some people who work with them because I see them on YouTube. So I don't know that there's anything specifically unique to me other than my energy, my intuition, and the way I do things. Yeah, so. What are your top 5 herbs? Maybe I'm just misunderstanding that question. Probably. And I'm probably going to look silly when this is over. Anyway, what are your top 5 herbs, 5 crystals, and oils, and why? Oh, I probably should have read this and studied. At any rate, top 5 herbs. Agrimony, angelica, rosemary, mugwort. I get one more. Just one. Ginger. I'm going to say ginger. Agrimony for the protection that it offers and the fact that it sends everything back to who sent it, and that it's great for healing. It's just an all-around really good herb. Great for nightmares. Mugwort, because the 2 of them work in unison really well. And I just can't have one without the other. I just really love them. And angelica, because angelica is a booster for all spells, and because it is a mainly it's because angelica and I feel close to each other. I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but if there was ever a mother herb for me, it would be angelica. Then rosemary, because rosemary is the mother of all herbs in a way, because if you don't have any herbs and you want to do a spell for love and a spell for vanishing, you can use rosemary, and it absolutely works all around the grid. It works for everything because it fills in for any herb. So rosemary. if I were trapped on a desert island, I would take rosemary because it fills in for any herbs. Ginger, because ginger is spicy without being over the top. It's also good for health. It's also good for, I love the tea. It's also good for memory. It's good for all kinds of good stuff. So I would pick ginger. What else did I say? Let me think. Agrimony, angelica, mugwort, rosemary, and ginger. There you go. Yep, those are my top 5 herbs. Crystals would be, I couldn't be without a quartz. I couldn't be without moonstone. Quartz because it's the rosemary of crystals. It's, if you have no other crystal, quartz does it. Anything you need. Moonstone because it is my stone. It is literally the stone that is me. I am a Cancer. I was born on a Monday. It's just my stone. I wear it. I have always worn it. It's been my stone for, I don't know if you can see my moonstone, but it's been my stone for years. I bought it way, way back. I paid $40 for this stone back in the 80s. So it was very expensive. I couldn't believe how expensive it was, but I had to have it. So anyway, so quartz crystal, moonstone, tourmaline. Am I saying that? That's not the one I'm thinking of. Tourmaline. Yeah, it is. It is the one I'm thinking of. Tourmaline. Because it's strong and it's protective. Amethyst because it helps with psychic ability, and I would want to have a way to be open. One more. I would say fluorite, just because I feel drawn to it, and it's a good healing stone. Ooh, or do I want jasper? Maybe I would pick jasper, because jasper is, like quartz is the all-around crystal to fill in for everything. Jasper is the all-around healer crystal for everything. So maybe I would pick jasper. I think jasper. Yeah, so those are my 5 crystals. Oils. I don't know, when I'm reading this, I don't know if it means essential oils or like the oils I make. So I'm going to go with the oils I make because I could live without essential oils. To be quite honest. So I'm going to go with the oils I make. So I would want my death oil. I would want my black cat oil. I would want my protection oil. I would definitely want my light veil oil, which is, okay, so I would want my death oil because it helps me get rid of things that I need to get rid of. Not talking about people. Habits, blockages, those types of things. So I would want my death oil. I would want my black cat oil. Maybe not my black cat oil because I've got my death oil. So maybe I would want my light veil oil because it helps me communicate easier when I'm trying to reach my ancestors or the spirit world. So light veil oil. Protection oil, obviously, because it's protective. My war oil, because it helps me battle things that are hard for me to deal with or that I'm trying to get through. And I would want my money oil to keep the flow of prosperity going. So there we go. Herbs, crystals, and oils. This video is extremely long and I'm so sorry. Okay. 17. What is your favorite witchy item to wear or piece of jewelry? My favorite witchy item is my moonstone. I feel that it connects me very well to spirit. And number 18. What is your familiar or spirit animal? I was wrong. I will show you something I wear in ritual. Real quick. Or when I'm working with my goddess. It's a crystal wand. So I'll show you that. We'll move on. 18. What is your familiar or spirit animal? I'll show you. Rosie. She is my familiar, my spirit animal is a bear. I can show you my coffee cup. Hi, Rosie. I'm going to say hi to the people. Can you say hi? Rosie. Oh, just want some mama love. This is my familiar. Her name is Rosie. She's very old. She's a good girl. She's mama's girl. Okay, number 19. What do you prefer to do ritual work indoors or outdoors? I prefer to do ritual work outdoors, but I am kind of stuck doing it indoors because it's always icky. And I like my witchy room, so I suppose I would do it in here. And what do you use to represent the elements in your ritual work? Stones. Stones and candles. That's what I use. Okay, I'm sorry this video got so long. I hope you enjoyed it. I tag everybody who watches it. I tag Lady Grave Dancer, Sunshine Morning Ray, Ravenflower, Creole Witch, Jen Did It, and I tag everyone who's watching who does videos. I tag you all. And remember, you are divine, sacred beings of light and love. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Please, thank you for watching. Subscribe, please. Hit the thumbs up, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.